Hey guys, what's up? It's Nick here with another episode of Meet the Taco Plebs. This week's guest is Erik, aka Viking Hodl. Erik is someone I've known on Bitcoin Twitter for a pretty long time now, and I've had a lot of good conversations with them, and I really wanted to bring him on here and get to know him a little bit better. I had never talked to him over voice before, so it was really nice to talk to him over voice for the first time and yeah, get to know him a little bit better. Erik is a really cool dude, and if you're not already following him, you should definitely fix that. His Twitter link will be in the description below. So without further ado, here's the interview. Hey Erik, welcome to the show. Glad you could be on here.
Hey Nick, what's up? Thank you for the invite, man. I'm really excited to talk to you.
I'm really excited to talk to you as well. You know, this is the first time we've ever voice chatted before, but we've been talking for who knows how long on Twitter, and I see you everywhere in people's comment sections, and I always like what you have to say. You're super friendly and nice, and I think you're just perfect for this podcast.
Man, thank you very much for the compliment. I try to keep it toxic actually, but it's really nice to, hear how you come over with all that toxic Bitcoin maximalism.
It's funny to me because people always get mad at toxic maximalists for being toxic, but then I saw someone compare Bitcoin maximalism to like a wolf pack. Like we treat each other like family, but then to outsiders who threaten us, it's a completely different story, and that's where we're toxic.
I mean, I don't know. I think you can find a lot better analogies because we're more about the wolf pack that, we're just trying to bring enlightenment basically and get them all together, get them all on the team. This is the fun about Bitcoin, no? Like whatever we do and however this toxicity might be interpreted, it's all about to get people to understand the basics of money, basically, and get them off these scams and shit coins and whatever is out there to, that basically threatens their time.
Yeah, I actually totally agree with that. But yeah, before we get started, I want to ask you, in your profile picture, you're wearing a Bayern Munich jersey or a Bayern Munich shirt. Do you watch Bayern Munich or European football in general?
It's kind of funny. Of course, I've been growing up in Germany, so growing up here is very much soccer is the it's one of the biggest choices or the only choices to make. Which sports you go to, and soccer is a big part of growing up. And you all have your team. I think it was Bayern Munich for some time. I haven't been actually watching soccer, I think, since 2012 at all. I don't know. I can't say why. It's just like the year I went uh, for grad school, and then suddenly, you just stop things that you do only because people around you do it.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I just
Yeah,
wanted to ask that because
yeah.
your account reminds me a lot of my brother because my brother's name is Erik. We are German, or part German, German American, and my brother was a Bayern Munich fan growing up, and he had a shirt very similar to the one in your profile pic.
The one in my profile pic, man, is like the brand Carrots, like
No, I do
Anvar
not.
Carrots. It doesn't matter, but they just made this cooperation with a Bavaria-based brand that's called Beeston, BSTN, and so like that's why there's the Bavaria flag symbol on it, and
hmm
it's made to look like a soccer symbol.
hmm I like
It's
it though. I think it's cool.
it's basically pop culture crap, but I like it
Yeah.
too.
But anyways, let's get into the good stuff. What's your rabbit hole story? How do you find Bitcoin?
That's actually kind of funny. Like most I've heard about, I had like my at least two touch points before I went down the rabbit hole. In in 2013, I actually went to grad school in San Francisco for my master's in international marketing. Uh, it's pre-Bitcoin, so I'm gonna just talk about the embarrassing stuff. And we had to make like a presentation about like alternative payment methods, what's coming, you know, electronic cash, this and that. And it was, you know, I was setting up a wallet. I had like a balance of $25 in 2014 for a presentation. But man, that wasn't the point when I got into Bitcoin. It was just passing by, you know.
So go ahead.
When we had like a little app going, a little idea, and it was very much about international connections and how to get students connected to people that would give them opportunities, basically, you know. And of course, for international students, like be woken up by someone who's also interested in your industry and basically match them with like a social profile, like what do you want to do later, what are you studying, what is about to happen in your life, and then basically you get matched up. And we were looking for basically methods to be paid, you know, or for people to pay each other with kind of attention tokens or whatever. It was some crap that actually didn't have to do with anything before. It was really just an idea that was born on a hackathon and stuff. And yeah, kind of 2 years in that idea, I again, you know, came across Bitcoin. But that again wasn't the point when I got into it. So finally into it, I got into 2017 when I was like actually kind of about to get to know my wife. And I don't know why, but at this point, from this point on, early 2017, I never stopped pursuing Bitcoin.
I'm also from a class of 2017, but that's awesome, man. So how long were you in San Francisco or America studying, and what made you want to study in America rather than Germany?
To be very honest, it was a lot about the master's degree only taking 1 year in America, and I didn't see that opportunity here in Germany, where we have bachelor degrees of 3 years and masters of 2 years. In America, they do the 4 and 1 combination often.
Okay.
So it's kind of a shortcut. And honestly, when I was about to pursue my master's in Germany, the university that was offering me the kind of degree that I wanted to pursue, which was a master of international branding, they couldn't get enough people together because it was a very new project. You know, private universities or private colleges, and the idea to pay for it yourself is still new in Germany, at least to the middle class. And yeah, I was one of those people that got first into that, and then that didn't happen. And I got headhunted by this university from San Francisco, and yeah, I took the opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've met a lot of people who like a lot of my European Bitcoin friends. They've had the chance to study in America, but they've turned it down and declined it, mainly just because of how expensive it can be here in the United States with higher education. But yeah, I think that's cool. I've never been to San Francisco before. I've been to California before, but I've never been to San Francisco.
You know, I want to say I really am so lucky that I went there 2013, 2014. It was already cracky then, you know, but you know, you saw everything. Like, sorry, but being from Germany, I'm not used to people crapping on the street, or, you know, when they have this
Yeah.
thing on their feet. I always forget the name. 1 second. What is it? When you're on house arrest, like what do you wear around your foot?
Oh,
Like an
the
ankle bracelet or something?
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, going close to San Francisco Civic Center and stuff. I saw all these things for the first time in my life. I gotta say, I'm 6'4", I'm a good 230, 220. So I'm not really threatened, but I was like with a small German dude, and he was fucking frightened. That was it was first, just funny experiences. I was really appreciative. I loved San Francisco. You know, I came back there 2 or 3 times after, and I was there for 1.5 to 2 years after all.
Yeah. I hope you've been to other nicer parts of the United States. That's not like the United States isn't like that all over. At least not from where I am.
I have been to worse places like LA.
Oh God.
No, but my family is lucky. So I went to Florida because we have friends there since I'm 11, like every year. So I have connection basically to this country, and I want to say probably to the more Republican part. So sometimes San Francisco and your opinions, especially like in something like this nerd sphere around Silicon Valley and stuff, can get in the way your political opinions. In
Hmm.
Florida, it's kind of well different and straight. It's
Yeah.
the first time actually, like when you're from Germany and I went to San Francisco the first time when I was like around 2002 and stuff. So you kind of got to know Florida a certain kind of way. And then the whole Obama thing happened, and I was also there when that happened. And when he got elected president, I never heard so many people talking bad about a person, like stuff about I don't want general health insurance, I want my freedom, and things like that. Being just at a young age then myself, like 12 years ago, so like 17, 18, and coming straight out of Germany, just visiting Florida 2 to 3 weeks a year, it was kind of like a something you had to realize, like an epiphany, because in Germany it's like, oh, the Americans don't have health insurance, all want health insurance, it's the best thing, we have the best democracy. Like right now, like you feel this discrepancy in terms of reality and this distortion field around media, and I never felt that before. So that was kind of fun to realize.
Yeah.
That there's a whole different story, a whole different political landscape, a whole different idea of freedom and libertarianism. That was
Hmm.
an important part to just hear something like that.
Yeah. I remember I vaguely remember when Obama was elected president. I don't remember too much, and I didn't really care back then because I was actually in elementary school.
Oh shit,
I
man!
w-
How old are you now?
I'm 20.
Oh damn! I'm 10 years older than you. Or actually 11. Let's get that straight. So crazy.
Yeah. But this leads me into my next question is how has Bitcoin changed your life personally?
Bitcoin made me very, very aware of um, the high time preference habits that I have in my life and have built over so many years. And I, well, exchanged all of those, I want to say, for low time preference, and especially being aware, like, about it, that you do things, you plan ahead, you you do everything according to this long-term goal, to change something, to vote. I do everything more conscious. You take out $1 and you pay with it, or you spend it, you cast a vote, kind of. And with everything that happens in Bitcoin, uh, I just feel this low time preference thing about the Bitcoin standard and Zephyrdine, of course. It's something that really how to say, that changed my life. Yes.
Yeah, low time preference also changed my life immensely. It really makes you think like, man, do I need this 20th t-shirt? Do I really need, another gaming system? Do I really need to eat out for the fourth time this week? It has given me like this sense of security as well that like it's easy with Bitcoin to build and accumulate wealth, and all I have to do is just not spend my money on useless things.
Totally true. I've also been talking to two different persons, just like, I don't know, like, do you know Buzz Lightyear on Twitter, the BTC guy, um, or Coin Icarus, of course.
I know
We
Coin
just
Icarus. I'm not sure about Buzz Lightyear.
okay. We just been talking about he was selling some stuff on eBay, because stacking sets just number one priority. And when you have some belongings that just sit around, like I have this sudden ability to be emotionally detached from things that I thought had this sentimental value, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I
Like
think
not
so.
maybe it's greed. Like I don't want to exclude that. I think Bitcoin is one of the first things that doesn't, turn a blind eye to this human feature of greed. Um, it's fine, be greedy. Everybody can verify for themselves.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah,
just, I don't know. I haven't been cutting my hair for 2 years now. I
really.
yeah, I don't do, it's like what Pierre on isolation kind of thing. I try to, yeah, it's bullshit. You spend like 50 what dollar, 50 euro at least, or if you go to like a good barber, however you want to call it, a hip barber, and then you pay even more for that. And it's kind of, in the end, short hair is nothing else than practical for the working class kind of thing, and long hair is expensive to keep. And at the earlier day, like, I don't know, have you ever seen, in the earlier days, mustaches and stuff have been, hard to maintain. So working class families didn't have that. And the same to the hair, like long hair wasn't something you had when you were working on the field. Number one, what for? Number two, like, it would be in the way. So that's why only the higher class and peasants, had this long hair.
Hmm.
And it's just like, it's just an interesting history thing about it. And I feel kind of well, not enlightened, but I kind of shed this relationship, like to go to the barber every 4 weeks. Like, who am I? Like Princess Diana, or like I don't, I
Yeah.
can't, I can't really do that. Or what you said before, to not acquire all this stuff. This T-shirt, I have this Adidas Eddie Color X Babe collaboration. It's a $400 sweatpants, man. You know, I'm just going to sell it now.
Yeah. Especially since don't Europeans not wear sweats that much?
Man, it's the same, I think. When you get into this culture of sneakers and sneaker resales and all this Supreme, Palace, all these brand things, which I was part of, being part of marketing and stuff. You were following brands that did it really good, and branding is nothing else than telling a story, basically. And so you kind of, when you earn your money with it, you also spend your money on it.
Hmm.
In this case, that's what I believe. So I was kind of getting into all these products. I was reselling sneakers, making some money on that. Like, I have still a big Jordan collection that I'm trying to get rid of now. And I'm also going to count all these sweatpants to it. But what I wanted to say is just, if the culture is the same, and if you go out by day now, you see a lot more people looking like, yeah, sweatpants. But it's not this Florida comfort kind of level where you go in your juicy couture to Walmart. Like,
Yeah. Um, I mean, me myself going back to, you reselling sneakers, Coin Icarus reselling clothes on eBay. I have an app on my phone that I've been reselling a bunch of my old clothes. I just throw them up there, take a couple pictures, write in like 10, 15, $20, whatever I feel they're worth. And I've made like close to $200 off of it. And every penny that I've made just goes right into Bitcoin. And it's some of when I was in like high school and stuff, like I wasn't like a fashion hype beast or something. I just wore like whatever I liked, and a lot of the times that was like sweatshirts and stuff. But I got a huge collection of them after a while, especially like traveling and stuff. I always wanted like a crew neck or a hoodie from wherever I went, and
yeah.
after a while, like the sentimental value of it kind of wore off, and I was like, man, I don't want this anymore. I'd rather have the Bitcoin. So then I just put it on up and I sell it.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's exactly this thing, no? Like, maybe somebody else can wear it now. I appreciate the sets right now much more, especially. During this dip.
Hmm.
I just,
So go ahead.
Yeah, that's just what I think. Low time preference changes a lot of things about your life, and you think about how you spend money and how to make money, and you get rid of all the baggage that you have probably accrued over the time you haven't been in Bitcoin.
I think low time preference is a great way to help pitch Bitcoin to someone. But what is your best Bitcoin pitch?
Ugh. That's kind of hard. I have to say, I've made good experiences and bad experiences, especially within the family. But how I usually start is to explain that you or how you own Bitcoin. That I'm fascinated by this feeling of something that belongs to you like your arm does. That it goes where you want, like your arm usually does when, in control, to like in some other state. But, you raise your arm raises, you lift your finger lifts. And I feel that's what Bitcoin is. It's a part of you.
I like that answer. I've never heard of anyone pitch Bitcoin like that before.
It comes from a little bit from like Walter Block and property rights and all that.
Hmm.
I don't know if you have watched him before. Did you hear of Walter Block?
I do not know who that is.
Uh, I'm not sure at which university he is. He just recently had to defend himself against some, BLM woke students.
Oh,
But Walter Block on YouTube, man, property rights. If you have an hour or two in the future, it's a really cool libertarian.
oh yeah, I'll definitely look that up. Just remind me after this podcast.
Yeah, okay.
But I wanted to ask you a little bit more. Have you had any success getting your family members into Bitcoin, or has it been more of your friends or strangers that you've got in?
Everyone in my family is now in Bitcoin. Um, I have been getting mixed resonance by former friends. You uh, if when you learn to make your stand and you have an opinion that differentiates much from the mainstream, it's kind of hard to keep friends these days because they they're basically intolerant of different opinions. The
Hmm.
last friend that left my house, I literally just told the last sentence ever was, there are people with different opinions, and that's just fine. Uh, you know, but I got him into Bitcoin like 1.5 or 2 years ago. Um, but other than that, I honestly am better in talking to boomers and like basically building a trading desk for them, getting them acquainted with it, and explaining it. I had like got some good success with my dad. He seems to understand it and even makes references to it by himself, which sometimes makes me really proud. So like when my mom, for example, is asking something and he answers it, that's pretty dope.
I'm jealous. I really am. I was trying to get my dad to read the Bitcoin Standard, and my dad's just totally not interested in Bitcoin. I think he thinks it's a scam and that it's a total waste of time. But I remember he was on the part of the Bitcoin Standard where they were using the rhinestones, in the middle of the
Yeah.
island. And I asked him, "Do you understand why they were using those as money?" And his response was, "Yeah, because their government didn't have the technology to print money." And I was like, "No, that you're completely missing the point. Like you're so close, but you're so far away."
Did anybody print at that time? I'm not so sure.
I don't think so. I mean, no one really loaded up printing presses, but I'm sure, technically they did print when the Europeans came with the smaller
Yeah.
rhinestones and
Okay.
inflated the market. Like I think inflation and money printing happens in multiple different forms, as we've seen, with the smaller rhinestones and the glass beads in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything, coin clipping, it's everywhere.
It's it the civilization always seems to be doing really well and thriving on a hard money, and then greedy people see opportunity to benefit themselves at the cost of others, and then they take that opportunity at the expense of those people who don't know any better. And then it seems like a similar cycle that happens time and time and time again throughout history. And we're
Yeah.
currently living in that right now as well.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Like in the beginning, when Plan B kind of started with the S2F model and stuff, he was posting it more, but he had like this model of the hyperinflation around the Weimar Republic around 1922, 23. And it is a perfect account of what is happening. And coincidentally, it's like 100 years ago, because we were speaking about cycles.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it just happens time and time and time again, and
I mean,
it
the
it
first,
ama-
yeah,
go on.
I just meant like the first central bank was set up in 1916, wasn't it? Like around that, 1916, 1917.
I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, but let's just say yeah and go with it.
It's just again like 100 years. It's definitely a cycle. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. It doesn't have to be a cable or cabal or whatever, but it's definitely like you say, it's greed.
Oh yeah, it really annoyed me, studying what happened during the world wars when, like, let's say Germany, for example, were on a hard money, and the United States as well. And then they wanted to fund the war, so they took, their standard off of hard money and put it on a money printing standard. And then by the end of the war, they were down, like, the currency was down like 60% plus. And then they were like, okay, let's try and, just casually put it back on a hard money, but you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, you can't go back. I think like I just read that on Zero Hedge. I mean, I always say that anyway, but it's always nice to read about people that are your opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely impossible. Even if we would go back to something like we couldn't go back to gold, for example. It's just impossible. Like we're in a digital age. Gold is much too slow. Gold is physical. Gold is centralized. There's just no way. And if there is like some way to use gold and for banks to settle, then it will still be Bitcoin.
I always say that if we were to go back to a gold standard, we would just end up in the same exact situation we are today.
Yeah, it's not even an argument. And I think somebody today, oh man, the finance journalist of a big German magazine called Welt, I was having this little Twitter discussion with him, and Fab the Fox too, and some other German, Sven Schnieders, if you know him, a good dev. Um, he was posting shit about like Isaac Newton even knew gold is better or something. Isaac Newton lived in the 17th/18th century.
Mm-hmm.
And even that guy knew how valuable gold is, and tried to fake it with alchemy. Never made it. Claimed till the end that it's possible. I mean, we're 300 years in. It's time for a change.
I love that quote. 300 years in, time for a change. That could not be more perfectly said.
It's kind of it's crazy. This 1680 to 700, 1723 or something he lived, and he was so into gold and all these other things. I mean, everybody knows the story about Isaac Newton and what he has discovered, and and someone like that already seeing the value uh, of gold as something that cannot be copied. And then now we are in 2020, and some of these nuts are still thinking we are going back to a gold standard somehow
Mm-hmm.
because the US has the gold, quote.
Yeah.
uh,
But one of the amazing things about Bitcoin is that you can't counterfeit it, because your node won't accept any counterfeit Bitcoin. And that leads into my next question: is what is the most amazing thing about Bitcoin to you?
I think I kind of touched on it already, but the self custody, sovereignty part, and the freedom. It kind of points you down the road. It,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like Bitcoin is a journey. And
Yeah.
that's not going to stop. Like it's just this journey of maybe not just independence, but on the way there, self-discovery, basically, like who you are as a person, what you want to do, what you want the world to look like, and what you want to vote for, and what you want to hodl for, you know?
Hmm. I definitely I love that answer. It makes people think more about themselves, their what future they want, how they get there, and what they spend their money on. And it really I think it causes society to raise their standards of intelligence, because on a fiat standard we've seen all the shit going on today. Society is really like the general person is pretty stupid and they have
Yeah.
like no clue what's going on. And then you go on Bitcoin Twitter or you meet a Bitcoiner in real life, and it's the levels of intelligence and education and awareness are just completely out of their league.
Yes. It is a really good echo chamber to be in usually. And it's really nice to be surrounded by people that give you the feeling to, well, basically to be dumb, you know,
Yeah.
because you want to work up, you want to look that up. Like if Giacomo posts something, if there's like a long thread, a discussion, a fight, whatever, and you follow and you follow up on the things you don't understand. At least I do that. I do the research and I get into those points, and I want to be part of this, you know. I want to be part of this, and I think Bitcoin is a certainty, and I have the chance now to influence where it's going, you know, to see for myself, and to basically, you know, you reap what you sow, and it just reintroduces responsibility that's missing right now, like you just said, accountability that's missing. And, you know, it's not just stupidity, it's just like this blatant ignorance in the face of everything what's happening in the world right now, that these people go out, protest, and destroy shit. And I think Bitcoin is just the antidote.
Yeah, like you said, you reap your rewards. It's real life proof of work right there. You put in the
True.
time to educate yourself. You put in the time to, let's say, get a job so you can get fiat, so then you can stack sats, and your life just overall becomes better. And yeah, I think you said that perfectly.
I mean, I have to admit, and I can say that for sure. I have never read as many books and never spent as much time for self-development and self-education than since I'm in Bitcoin.
Same here. I
I mean,
remember this past Christmas was the first time in my life I had ever asked a family member for a book, and it was the Bitcoin Standard. And I remember thinking, what has happened to me? What has
shit,
happened to me?
socks are next. But it's true. I mean, I have also never been looking up like hardcovers instead of paperbacks because I really want to keep that book, or I want to have this classic. You know, that was never an aspiration that would have come to my mind before. I mean, you are so young, so I have to say, around your age, that was not what I was thinking about. You know, it was just 10 years ago, so, or
Mhm.
11 years ago, so that was a different time in fiat completely. We were still riding the roller coaster, you know, up, up, up. So that was a better time, and I have been doing stuff like party in Vegas and all that, you know.
Mhm.
I, I,
That's
I'm not sure if I would like uh, give away that experience, you know. But if
mhm.
somebody would offer me a certain amount of sats or Bitcoin today for all these experiences, I probably would consider it.
That's interesting. But I mean, a little high time preference. Fun when you're young. That's not necessarily a bad thing, I think.
No, no, I'm just saying it's even more impressive that you are thinking how you're thinking, you know. I think it's easier for me to say because, well, I am already 30, but man, you got time to go. You're not even drinking age in the US yet, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, soon.
Soon, soon, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's crazy, you know. In Germany, you're allowed with 18, like whatever you
Hmm.
want.
So just for time constraints, we're gonna go to the last question. What is your price prediction for New Year's 2021 and Bitcoin at the fourth halving?
New Year's next year, not
Yes.
this. Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. So I think at this point we probably might be going down again. I think we're gonna hit somewhere new all-time high next year, April, maybe even March, like we have seen before. And it will be going up, up, up. I don't know. I pretty much like the S2FX model by Plan B. It's maybe a little high with 288K as a top, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we definitely have the potential to get even higher than that, and we're gonna go down again, and we're maybe around 120K next year and next year.
Okay. I I'd be happy with that number.
Yeah, definitely. Well, maybe I'm optimistic, but you know, like that's what we are, like, or that's what I am. I really think that's where it goes. I mean, if you don't like to bet on Bitcoin, then you for sure want to bet against the government and this ignorance and stupidity and what's going on over there. So I think that's for sure a certainty.
So what about your prediction for the fourth halving, the price at the fourth halving?
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, maybe it's 90. Maybe it's between 70 and 90K.
Okay.
And we see from there, you know, the whole game anew. But the network, the network multiplicator and all these factors like lightning hasn't been there the last time around and all that, you know, maybe we're in for a big surprise.
Okay, I like that. Well, Erik, thank you for coming on this podcast. I had a great time sitting down and chatting with you, and I really hope you did as well.
Thank you very much, and of course, man, it was great. Thank you for